All right, guys, welcome back to another pod. This is the Mavs Fathers for Life podcast. I'm your host, Steven Vialis, the Filipino flamethrower, joined by my co-host, my dude, the man with the hottest takes and the coldest name, Dylan Blizzard.
Going on?
Back at it with another one. Hopefully, this one is gonna
right?
give you guys a little something new. We're also gonna cover some more topics today. We're gonna make this a fun one, hopefully. All right, man. So how you been? How you been since the last one, bro?
Good, man. Just chilling, dog, with the family. Really getting prepared for these podcasts, man. We're already on our, fourth one?
It's crazy, huh?
I mean, last year, when we started this, we only had one, two, maybe.
Yeah. Now we're just pushing 2 out a week. It's
It's
challenging, but it's also fun. It's exciting that we get to do this, and we have people who are interested and people tuning in. I definitely don't take that for granted, and I do appreciate those people who are supporting us. So at the end of the day, we do this for them. We love to talk Mavs anyways, so why not share our passions and our interests with those who love us and support us, right?
Right.
So today, really, I wanted to talk about our guys who are in the FIBA World Cup tournament. A lot of times where you see players have the most growth, especially in the U.S., is when they go overseas and play in the Olympics and they play around the other best players around the world.
Yeah.
And usually, Team USA has always been the powerhouse. There was one year, I think, back in 03, 04 maybe, when we got destroyed. But since then, it's just been domination. And that's really when you see the growth, is when you spend a whole summer, a whole off season with the best players in our league fighting for that gold medal, representing our country. And that's really where they take the game to, because they see everything. They see the preparation. They see how the other players work out, to see their tendencies, to see their diets, to see their sleeping patterns or whatever sleeping schedule they have. So I just wanted to kind of get into the Mavs that are representing their countries. We obviously have a former Mav leading Team USA in Jalen Brunson. But we have Luka representing Team Slovenia, obviously. And then we have Jalen Green and Dante Exum, both representing Team Australia.
Josh Green.
Yeah, Green is actually starting and going to play a vital role this season for them, so that's exciting. And we also have your boy, Dwight Powell, representing Canada.
Hey, I looked up his Team Canada stats, all right?
Yeah.
If he gives us these stats that he gives for Team Canada, dog, he might be my new favorite center, dog, but he doesn't.
Oh my God! Cut him some slack. Cut him some slack.
I don't know what you need to do from Canada, dog, to bring him back to the States, but come on, man, averaging 10 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, dog.
Hey, you know what? Those are solid stats. If he gives us that, that's dangerous.
Yeah, but you give us 4 points a game, 2 rebounds, and 3 alley-oops a game, dog. Like, what's the difference?
Oh, quick sidebar. I will say that. Have you checked out Team Bahamas?
I have, dog.
Dude, their big three. Their big three is DeAndre Ayton, Eric Gordon, and Buddy Hield. That's nasty, bro.
I would have never thought those three were even have any Bohemian descent, dog.
That's a cakewalk if you're like another country. Like, oh, who's gonna be in the Bahamas? Oh, 3 All-Stars.
Gosh almighty.
All right, so let's jump in it. I mean, what are your expectations for Luka and Team Slovenia in this upcoming World Cup tournament? I think in the was it the Olympics when he last played for them and they got like 4th place?
Yeah.
And that was like a Cinderella story because they're a smaller country. I think they lost to Australia if I'm mistaken. But it was
maybe
it was USA, Spain, Australia, and Slovenia. I think I could be wrong. But anyways, what are your expectations for Luka and Team Slovenia?
Man, I watched Slovenia not even for the Luka highlights, bro, but They got some shooters, man.
Yeah, bro. They got this dude. I can't. It starts with a P, but he got the stroke, bro. Just
Man, they
pure,
all got the strokes.
pure, dude. And then they're big. I think his last name is Toby. He played D1 ball.
Yeah,
He played D1 ball in the States, and he's cold. That pick and roll game works just like it does for us with him and Dwight Powell.
yeah,
And he can shoot too. I mean,
yeah.
so besides obviously Team USA and Team Philippines for me, I'm definitely going to be tuning in as Team Slovenia.
Oh, most
I
definitely.
definitely want them to medal at least. I think Luka being able to carry his success and being able to carry a whole country on his back, and then coming back to Dallas and holding the whole team on his back like he normally does
Right.
is only going to be good for him, especially skinny Luka.
And he's starting to look like rookie Luca
Yes.
and second year Luca
Yes.
after Dirk was gone.
Yep.
Yee, boy.
It's only going to be good things for Mavs fans, man.
Man, I know that's right.
So I think my expectation is that they do. I do think they'll medal. I do think they'll make it back to the third and fourth place game, and hopefully they come out on top this time.
Yeah.
Maybe a bronze. I don't see them beating like the other powerhouses, Spain, Australia, France. But I hope that they can steal one and get on the medal, because I do think Team USA is still going to dominate.
Yeah.
And then I think there was 3 or 4 Slovenians, because of the outcome of last tournament, that they actually played in the NBA last season.
Yeah.
So good for them. I mean, obviously they have one of the best players in the world, Luka Doncic, and they've already proven that they're a nation that can hoop. Like they're
And that's kind of what this. It's kind of, I mean, all World Cups like soccer and the rugby and FIBA, hockey. I think it's more to represent your country, but it's also to put yourself out there.
Exactly.
It's like even the Olympics.
Yeah. The world is watching.
Yeah. And so it's just one of those things. It's not a tryout, but because you have more to play for it, but it's a really big tryout, if you want to put it that way. Because you got, like you said, the whole nation and the whole world watching you at this time, especially if it's a big basketball. I think I used to watch the FIBA World Cup when I was a kid, like it was going out of style when it was around.
Yeah.
I mean, I would stay up late on the weekends watching them in my little closet with my little box TV, dog, that only had a couple channels on it.
Yeah.
Make a little man cave out of it.
These dudes are literally getting in a fist fight over, did Troy and Gabriella know each other since kindergarten? Oh my gosh, bro. What in the world?
Oh, man, that's great, though. If that's what you're getting over a fist fight for,
I know, right?
Your kids are growing up right, man.
I know, right?
Dang. That's great. I love it.
All right, so where were we? We were talking about European hoops, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we kind of talked about Luka and obviously his greatness and with Team Slovenia, what do you think about Team Australia, which is another powerhouse that has two of our Mavs? We could have possibly had 3 if Matisse Thybulle and the Trailblazers didn't match our offer. We could have had 3 of them on our squad. But we have Josh Green and we have Dante Exum. So what are you kind of expecting them to do in their roles with Team Australia?
Man, besides them, I don't really know much. I mean, I know Team Australia is another powerhouse, but I don't really know more of their players like I do Slovenia and all that. But from what I've seen, their tapes, and just their roster, they've got a good roster, man. Like their roster is. It's not a sleeper roster, but it's a sleeper roster, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, they got some dogs, bro.
Yeah. I could see them possibly facing Slovenia for the third and fourth place game, man. I think you're going to have France and United States for 1 and 2, and then you're going to have the 2 Cinderella stories, Australia and Slovenia, third and fourth. I think Green's going to take a big step this year with Team Australia. He's going to carry over what he did this season. And then Dante Exum's Dante Exum, dog. I mean, he's gonna do what he does.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I like their team. Their team's got some dogs. I think they could make a deep run in this World Cup. I don't know when it starts, um, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win their group. Um,
Yeah, I think it starts Friday.
yeah,
So their first game is against Finland. Um, I mean, like their starting point guard, Patty Mills,
yeah,
when he plays for Australia, he's a different Patty Mills, bro. That dude's a bucket. And then they got um, Josh Giddey, who's a
yeah.
really good point guard slash shooting guard. Joe Ingles,
Deladova,
Yeladova. They got a couple of other guys who've played. They have Landell, who's a center for the Suns, and then they got our boy Exum. Um,
yeah,
so I do think they're gonna make some noise. I don't think they're as deep or as talented as Spain or France or us, obviously, but
yeah,
it would be exciting to see Josh Green take another step and to see Dante Exum to see if he still got it. You know, he played a really
yeah,
good season. I forgot what club he played for in Euro Leagues last season, but he was a really good defender. So I mean, if he can bring better defense and hopefully better shooting to us over what we had with Frank Ntilikina last season, that's an
yeah,
upgrade.
yeah.
It's a huge upgrade.
Major upgrade.
And yeah, I'm hoping to see Josh Green take that step to kind of
Yeah,
solidify him as our starter in that forward position for our team.
yeah.
And then lastly, we have um, Dwight Powell. We kind of covered
Oh, Canada. That's
we've
all I know, guys. Sorry if I
we've got
disrespect Canada.
all of our Canadian viewers. What's up? How you doing? um,
Sorry if I botched it. That's all I know.
so he is the starting center, I believe, for Team Canada, and Team Canada is deep, bro. They got
They are.
Shy Gilgis Alexander, Lou Dort. They had Jamal Murray,
Hmm.
but I believe he's ruled out. I don't know. I wasn't sure if it's for personal reasons or for injury. But they also have. I'm blanking, but I know they're super deep, bro. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see them go. Oh, they have who's the dude who's playing the Grizzlies that everyone hated? Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks.
They
Yeah.
got Dylan Brooks. So they have a solid team. I do think they're gonna make some noise. So what are your expectations for Dwight Powell and his role with Team Canada?
Well, I saw his 2023 stats in the American qualifiers. I mean, if he can play like that, 10 points, 8 rebounds a game for Team Canada with all the firepower they have with Alexander and Dylan Brooks, who's just a dog on defense, he'll get under your skin.
Yeah,
Man, I could see Canada coming second out of their group, if not winning it.
yeah,
I don't think they'll get further than the group stage. I just think there's too many good teams. Yeah, they're deep, but that I don't think they got the firepower like France, Spain, Slovenia, um, Australia, USA, the Bahamas. Now that's going to be an upset story, I guarantee you.
man.
Um, and so I think they'll get out of the group stage, but they won't go any further than whatever the next round of 16, right?
Something like that. It's weird because they have so many random teams in this tournament compared to the Olympics.
Yeah,
So it's definitely something that we're gonna keep an eye on. All right. So before we get into our, because last podcast we kind of teased that we were gonna do
yeah,
a prediction for our season opener, which we're gonna be at San Antonio playing against the number one overall pick Victor Wembanyama. Before we get into that,
who's on Team France?
who is on Team France, and that's a cheating team, bro. So I will get into let's get into one of our questions that we couldn't really hit or spend time on from Rodney, one of our last pods, when he asked about Mike Miles Jr. and what do we feel
Yeah,
about his signing. So since that time, since that pod, I didn't really know too much about him besides that he played for TCU. Um,
yeah,
but since then, doing some homework, kind of seeing some highlights and seeing the kind of player he was, because he was a Bob Cousy point guard of the year finalist and a John Wooden finalist. So the dude's was crazy good last season.
Yeah.
I think he averaged around 17 a game,
Yeah.
and then his tournament highlights was even crazier. So just for me, seeing him up close and personal, dude's a bucket. He's smooth. His shot is pure. He can score at every level. It was not just a standstill shooter. He would pull up from mid range, one dribble off the elbow. He could take it to the lane, finish with either hands. He's gonna be exciting. He's gonna be an exciting dude. I believe he's 6'2", which is fine for a point guard. So I do think if one of our guys gets hurt, goes down with an injury, and we need him to kind of step up, I do think he has the bag and the tools to make some noise and hopefully solidify his spot on the team. So what do you think?
I agree, man. I remember him watching against Texas in the Big 12. He was just, I mean, I felt like we couldn't stop him. And Texas was a good team. Like, last year they were stout. But man, like you said, he can dribble off. He can drive off the dribble, go to the lane, pull up. I mean, I think I could see him coming with the twos, coming off the bench. He might be Jaden Hardy's backup. I could see that possibly happening.
Yeah, his game does remind me of Jaden Hardy. Honestly, it does.
Yeah.
Jaden Hardy's smooth. He can hit buckets in flurries. So, you know, if we see somebody go down and we ask Jaden Hardy to kind of fill in for Kyrie and then maybe ask Mike to fill in for Jaden, I could see that happening. I do see him giving our first and second unit some work in practice. I do think that'll help because he's a bucket getter. I do think it's an exciting time for us. We're finally deep at guards. You know, we have the best 1-2 punch, I believe, in the backcourt in the NBA, and Luka and Kyrie. And then we have Jaden coming off the bench, Seth coming off the bench. I do think we have depth, and we're young, so it's a really good situation we're in.
I think we've had more young depth than we've had in the past. I think the past Mavericks, and even just recently, we get depth, but we get older depth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you get a McGee, or you get Harrison Barnes. I mean, and even then, he's not that old, but just, I mean, either coming out of their prime or just, I don't know. We've always had an older depth. But this year, I feel like Nico and Mark have wanted to get younger.
Yeah.
And not just younger for a couple of years, like younger to hold this thing for years to come. Basically to keep Luka here. Like, hey man, we got this young talent that you can run with for 4 or 5 years, maybe more. And give it a couple of years, and Hardy and what's his name? Lively and Omax and Jones, and they'll all be starting with you. Some of those will be your starting 5 in the next year or 2.
Yeah.
Along with Kyrie. And so, man, this isn't exciting. I think this offseason was great, and we talked about this past 3 episodes, but our offseason was great. I don't think we've ever had an offseason like this.
Not recently, not at all.
Only one I could think of was 2011, and that's when we got that bench we got, and we were like, those dudes even then weren't the caliber of dudes we have now. This team reminds me of very 2011. We got some dudes, but we're also being underlooked, I think, this year. And so this team's special, man. I think we're going to make a deep run. I've already told you my prediction on that. But I'm excited. Nico did what we brought him here to do.
Yeah.
And that's all we can ask. Hopefully it continues. And we'll see what happens, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I do.
I'm excited for the opening day game, too.
Yep. And we'll transition to that soon. But I do want to piggyback off of something you said before we do that. And I do think a lot of people are kind of overlooking our team. I do think that if anything, we're going to surprise people, and we are the underdog because of how terrible last season finished and how we didn't even make the play-in. And then we tanked the last couple games to get our spot in the draft, which was what we needed to do. But
Yeah.
when you look at the teams around the West, especially, it's obviously the Nuggets who just won the title, the Suns who just made a Super Three, the Warriors who have added Chris Paul to their core, um, and the other up and coming teams like the Grizzlies are still there. They're still gonna make some noise. The Lakers are still there
Yeah.
with LeBron. Um, but I do think what you said is that we are overlooked. We added Kyrie, and it was great offensively. Defensively was a little messy because we let go of some key players in order to
Right.
get Kyrie. But I do think
Yeah.
the offseason we've had and who we've added and how we've gotten younger, I do think that we are going to surprise some people. And
Yeah, I agree.
and I hopefully that rings true. All right, so now
I'm
let's
here for it.
let's transition into our final part, our final talking point of the evening, and that's um, going into our season opener. We have the primetime game lined up against Victor Wemby, and we're going to be in San Antonio. There's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of questions are going to be
Hmm.
answered. So just kind of get into as much in depth as you possibly can. How is your prediction for that night going to go?
Uh, I mean, Spurs. I mean, I think they have another year or two.
Yeah,
But the Spurs are up and coming too. Even with the team they have now, man, they're good. Um, they might make a run for the last spot in the play-in, maybe, or be in the play-in. But man, I just like that matchup. Do I think Powell might get work against Wimbenyama? I don't know. I hope not. But I mean, I don't think he's going to out rebound him.
yeah,
So that's. I mean, Wimbenyama doesn't scare me. Like the hype he got coming from France. Um, I do think he's good and he's going to be a good big man, maybe a Hall of Famer, but I'm not worried about it. I'm more worried about their supporting cast around him.
yeah,
I feel like we're going to get too caught up in the hype of Wimbenyama and he's not going to have a game, but here comes the bench players. Here comes the dudes around him, the starting five, the starting four around Wimbenyama, and they can go off on us too. I don't even know who their starting five are off the top of my head, but
no idea,
uh,
dude, no idea.
I would have to get back to you on that. But I think this is going to be a game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like we've had with San Antonio the past 2 years.
Yeah,
Um, Luka's still going to do Luka. Kyrie's still going to do Kyrie. This game, I want to see Lively get a lot of playing time. Not just coming off the bench and just playing his minutes off the bench, but I
yeah,
want him to maybe get in there with Luka
yeah,
for a couple of plays, Luka and Kyrie, and just see how that chemistry goes. Um, so I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a high scoring game, I think. Uh, and so, yeah, man, close game, high scoring. It's going to be fun. The hype's going to be there. Prime time. So I'm excited, man.
yeah. I mean, I think I agree with mostly everything you said. I do think that why not throw in our rookie versus their rookie, even though he was the first
Yep.
overall pick. Why not throw in ours and see what we got, see how he handles himself, and so my kind of prediction for the night is this is Wemby's real first game. It's I know that he's been in a lot of big games. He's maybe the what's the word, like the besides LeBron, he has the most hype surrounding a rookie since then.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's human, and I do think nerves are going to get to him in the beginning. I do think he's going to be
Mm-hmm.
nervous playing in front of the home crowd and seeing Luka and Kyrie up close, and him being like the premier matchup. I do think the nerves are going to get to him in the beginning. I do think he will come out in the second half, maybe the third, fourth, end of the third, beginning of the fourth quarter, and finally
Yeah.
put in some work. Because honestly, dude, we have no one to really guard him. Like if we're expecting Dwight to do that, that's a matchup nightmare. If we're expecting Holmes to do that, I don't think he can stay with him. Wemby can score on all three levels. And
Yeah.
then our guy Lively, I want to see how he fares up against. I want to see that
Yeah.
matchup. But if we're going in thinking that Wemby's comfortable and he's going in to score, we have no one to stop him. I mean,
Right.
we're not a defensive juggernaut.
You gotta make him uncomfortable on these pull ups.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can hit the pull, but if he starts driving the lane and backing you down, that just builds his confidence. But if you miss 3 or 4 mid-range shots or threes that he likes to take, your confidence goes down a little bit, man.
Yeah, big time. And
We just can't give him those easy buckets that he lives off of in the paint.
yeah,
Um,
and I do think, kind of to prove my theory, I think overall we're gonna win in a blowout fashion. Only because if you compare him to a player now, the one player comp is Rudy Gobert. They're
yeah,
both tall Frenchmen, similar wingspan, similar athletic abilities. Wemby can just shoot better than him. He can score better than him. But what
right.
happened to Rudy Gobert when he played against us? We killed him. We
Yeah,
literally he couldn't play against us. They had to take him out because we would get the switch and we would exploit that matchup every single time. With Luka, and now that we have Kyrie, it's going to be even worse. So yeah,
agreed.
Victor Wembanyama can score against us, but at the same time, I don't think he can guard our guys. And I do think we're going to win in a blowout fashion. I think Luka has a Luka game, almost a 20, 30 point triple double. I think Kyrie has his
Yeah.
moments. He probably gets 25. Maybe Wemby has a good game. Maybe he almost scores 25 and 15, something like that, which is a
I mean, he can.
solid debut because honestly, he's going to get those rebounds. He's going to get like two or
Yeah,
three offensive rebounds where he's just tapping it back in the glass.
easy. We have
Um,
nobody to stop that.
Exactly, and that's where I think the easy buckets are going to
Stupid.
happen. But I do think we're going to win in a blowout fashion and make a statement in our first game. And that's going to lead us to coming back
I
home
would
for our second game and hopefully making some noise
against
there.
the sun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Duke are gonna be breaking ankles again, just like Game 7.
Yes, sir. So that's kind of our. I'm glad that we were able to do that. Kind of give you our prediction. That way we can finally check in later in October when that game actually happens and kind of see how we fare and
Yeah,
if Wemby does what we expected, if the Mavs win like we expected, or if it's the complete opposite. Wemby has like a crazy 40-point game, we get blown out. I don't see that happening, but who knows?
I
It,
don't.
it might happen. It might happen. So I
I
mean,
see. I mean, I think it will be a high. This is gonna be two things. We're gonna blow. They won't blow us out. That's not. I don't think they have enough firepower to do that. Because Wembanyama can't do it by himself. Um, I don't think. I don't think they have. They have a good team, but I don't think they have enough firepower around him yet to do that. Um, but it's either going to be a close, high-scoring game, or we're going to blow them out. We just got Kyrie and Luka,
yeah,
and those two, Kyrie in the fourth quarter, man, he can just turn it on a dime.
yeah,
And he can make a game 10 points to 20 points real quick.
yep,
Especially if he finds his rhythm and he starts to get hot. So I'm expecting a close game, but if it's a blowout, I think we'll do the blowout,
yeah,
just like you
yeah.
said.
I agree. I agree. So I mean that's pretty much it for our talking points today. Unless you have something else to say.
Oh man,
All right. So
this was a good
we're
fourth episode. I liked it. I think
hey, those
we
31
finally
minutes
got into the Dante Exum talk.
exactly that we forgot about completely.
My bad, Dante.
Yeah, that's bad on our part. So yeah, we're approaching 31 minutes, which that time flew by, dude.
Man,
Yeah, we're starting to get the hang of this thing.
we're pushing them out.
Yeah. So
Oh, do you all also stay tuned? I think we're going to talk about it, but we're going to start doing live react or not live reactions. But
just reaction
or I'll let
videos.
Steve explain it more.
Yeah. So
Um,
just being able to do this now and having the ability to do lives, but also kind of have the ability to record and edit. I do want to get into more reactionary videos where we're watching clips, we're watching highlights, and we're kind of breaking down things more in depth than just talking. So I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to be able to do new things for you guys, to bring out fresh new content, fresh new things to kind of look forward to. Um, yeah, man. I mean, you want to add on to that?
oh man, I'm excited. Like again, like I say at the end of every podcast, thank you for the support and just continue to support, man. We're trying to get new things, new stuff in for y'all. Trying to do different content. And we're just trying to get this thing to the level to where it can sustain itself. And to where y'all enjoy something y'all can watch every 2 days.
Yeah.
And so that's it, man. Love y'all. Thank y'all for the support. Keep it up. We love it. Um, yeah, man. That's about it.
That's it, man. That's all we can do. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Mavs Fathers for Life. We love you guys. Be sure to tune in next pod. It's gonna probably be around Monday, Tuesday, and be sure to check this one out when it's posted and edited. So we love you guys. This is Steve signing off.
I love you.
Peace.